I'm going to show you guys the ugly truth about the sport of boxing. Check this out. Gervonta Tank Davis. The moment that Gervonta Tank Davis became a world champion back in 2017, the hate started for him. The disrespect started for him. Everything negative started for him the moment that he got his hands on that hardware. He was already hated. No one just knew because he wasn't a world champion. You see, Gervonta Tank Davis didn't even get a chance. The fans didn't even give Gervonta Tank Davis a chance before he became a world champion, or before he became a world champion. And that's because he was signed to Floyd. He was Floyd Mayweather's young protege. And so the hate that Floyd Mayweather received the majority of his career transitioned on down to Gervonta Tank Davis. So Gervonta Tank Davis, fresh out of the womb, was already hated because he was signed to Floyd Mayweather. Gervonta Tank Davis has been asked to do a lot. I want Gervonta Tank Davis to do what a lot of people are asking for him to do. But however, the energy is not reciprocated for all fighters. And you know what I mean. Gervonta Tank Davis needs to do this. He needs to do that. He never unified. And this is the best one. He's a 30-year-old prospect. That was the narrative about Gervonta Tank Davis. He's a 30-year-old prospect that hasn't done anything in the sport of boxing. But he's the guy that knocked out Rolly, knocked out Ryan, sent Leo's head into the audience. Gervonta Tank Davis has done some okay things in the sport of boxing, just not to the level of what you would consider legendary. But everyone still has smoke for Gervonta Tank Davis, right? But what has Vergil Ortiz done in the sport of boxing for him to receive no criticism, no disrespect, and no hate, and zero pressure from boxing fans? Vergil Ortiz is literally a 30-year-old prospect. He's never became a world champion. He's 28 years old and hasn't done in the sport of boxing. And yet, boxing fans ain't got no smoke for Vergil Ortiz. None at all. They got way more smoke for Tank than they do for a 28-year-old Vergil Ortiz. This pisses me off. It really does. Because I've been telling you guys what's the real problem in the sport of boxing and why the sport can never thrive. Because you have this unnecessary weight holding on to the sport of boxing, keeping the sport on the ground. These racist boxing fans are the problem. Why isn't Vergil Ortiz receiving the same smoke that Gervonta Tank Davis is still receiving the moment that he became a world champion back in 2017? Where's that energy for Vergil Ortiz? Vergil Ortiz hasn't touched a championship belt. His best win is against a washed up Erickson Lubin. Vergil Ortiz can legit surprise the boxing industry by moving up another weight class and challenge the red hot Carlos Adames. He needs that type of fight. He's 28 years old and hasn't touched a championship belt. His best win is against a washed up, chinny Erickson Lubin. And there's zero pressure for this man to do anything. He has no pressure at all from the boxing community. Carlos Adames just came off a great win over Ammo Williams. And Carlos Adames is looking for an opponent. He's looking for the smoke. Janovic, he can't lead the PEDs alone, so there's really no one at the middleweight division. So why isn't boxing fans demanding for Vergil to move his big ass up and challenge Carlos Adames, since there's no smoke for him at the junior middleweight division? And it looks like we're not going to get a Jerome Boots in this fight. So why can't Vergil Ortiz big ass move up to 160, where he belongs, and challenge Carlos Adames? Why aren't boxing fans putting pressure on Vergil Ortiz to give us something? We know the Boots fight isn't going to happen. So why is Vergil Ortiz being allowed to linger around a weight class and just wait on other fighters to bring their names to him? Why aren't boxing fans pressuring Vergil Ortiz to do something to show the boxing world that he is one of the best fighters of this era? What y'all boxing? What about Boots? Boots ain't got a resume. Well, we know that Boots doesn't have a resume, but at least Boots Ennis accomplished becoming unified at the welterweight division. And he's now fighting Xander Zayas at the junior middleweight division to become the unified junior middleweight champion. Vergil has never touched a championship belt. But yet everyone has smoke for Devin, for Shakur, for Tank, for pretty much all black fighters, but don't got no smoke for Vergil Ortiz, who's really a 30-year-old prospect. Y'all had all this energy, all this animosity, all this hate, all the disrespect towards Tank, but doesn't have none of that energy or smoke for Vergil, who's really the 30-year-old prospect. Because at least Tank accomplished winning a championship belt. Not in one weight class, but two.